everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Social You Should Know. My name is Craig Carter. I'm here with President of Ignite Social Media, Jim Tobin. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
We've got quite a few things to talk about. Facebook, Twitter, our blog. I guess let's start with a somewhat controversial topic, Facebook's 20% rule.
Yeah, I was very excited at the beginning of the week. I saw some posts on a few blogs, 2 or 3 blogs, saying Facebook ended the 20% rule. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it says that for images that you want to promote, not any image, but images you want to promote, you can't have more than 20% of the image covered with text. It's challenging because our designers will say that's well under 20% and some, and it'll get kicked back saying that's not an acceptable image. And other times you see images that are clearly more than 20%. So Facebook's been really erratic with the enforcement. I understand why they're doing it. They don't want people to basically do banner ads and get them for free or cheaply. So I get it, but it's been poorly enforced and managed. So I was pretty happy that the rule was gone, at least as a marketer. And then as it turns out, it's not really gone. It's they removed the reference to it in one place in their terms. They left it in the other place, and it clearly still says you have to comply with this for promoted posts, for sponsored stories. So it didn't go away, people. If you read that, it's not right.
Yeah, it's definitely good to stay informed when it comes with things like that, because it can be very frustrating having to go back and forth.
Yeah, and I read it in a couple places, so I assumed it was true. But we did check with Facebook. Our team checked with Facebook, and our community management team is the one who said, "Hold on, not true." So it's the wisdom of crowds.
Yeah, definitely good to know. Okay, so Twitter, they're doing something. They've been kind of a little spotty on updates in the past, but they've really been starting to get their act together, and that's been showing with what they're doing with advertising.
Yeah, so what they've allowed now is that you can retarget to people on Twitter, which is very different than a promoted tweet based on a word or a promoted trend. I mean, that's sort of a macro thing, but now being able to target specific people on Twitter is a sort of different way of looking at things. And they're doing that, of course, by opening up to some of the same third-party services that Facebook lets you do to retarget people based on they visited your site or if you know their email address, those kind of things. So that's good. But Twitter is it's good for marketers. I don't know if it's good for end users, but Twitter has found a way to make their ads far less obtrusive than Facebook. They just put one at the top and sort of leave it alone. But they've also put here the ability for you to click a box and say, I don't want any retargeted ads, and they'll go away. Now you still get ads, you just don't get retargeted ads. So I think that's good, because I think once people realize ads are retargeted, they become, at least for me, increasingly ineffective. I see, first I was like, wow, this must be a big company. Look at all the places I see their ads. And that was the intent. But once you realize that, and they're just stalking me, I don't think it's as effective anymore.
Yeah.
So Twitter, yeah, they've been doing good things. I've been impressed with Twitter. They were asleep for 3 years, but the last 2 years or so, 18 months at least, they're not asleep. They're moving along.
Yeah, absolutely. That and Vine, and they're doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, very happy. Twitter and Facebook were in a little bit of a battle, in 2007, 2008, and Facebook took off. But Twitter's where the teeny boppers are these days,
as they say. Okay, and finally, we just came out with a blog post yesterday. 7 types of content that you should be sharing on your social networks.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting post. I thought it was worth sharing with everybody because, a lot of people think there's a formula. You read articles all the time that there's a formula about how you should post, and there's best practices, but really mixing it up and having a lot of good content in here, from whether it's Vine or visual updates on Facebook. What were some of your favorites?
Although very risky, I'm a big fan of doing a Reddit AMA.
Yeah.
It can be, I've seen some actors such as Woody Harrelson just get utterly bashed and be a massive PR fail. But then I've seen people like Gerard Butler do it and has gained a completely new fan base. So I think some keys are, you can't go on a website and tell people to ask you anything and then tell them they can only ask you about certain things.
Right.
And spend a little bit of time. Really think about how you're going to answer these questions. be responsive. Take a couple hours out of your day to actually do this, and I think you'll get a lot out of it.
Yeah, it worked really well for Barack Obama.
Yep.
He got a lot of praise. Bill Gates got a lot of praise for doing it. But yeah, it's not Ask Me Some Things. And so you've got to think about, if somebody was going to ask me an adversarial question, what would it be? How would I handle it? And if you're not willing to handle it, or you want to give 2 or 3 answers. I used to be a PR guy, right? No matter what question you, Mr. News Person, asked, I was going to give you one of those 2 or 3 answers, and I could get away with it because he's got to clip it down to a minute and a half to get it onto the story. But you can't get away with it on Reddit. It's a fantastic, very supportive community if you play straight with them, and if you're interesting, which is a challenge for a lot of brands. If you try to be cool, they'll destroy you.
Yeah, absolutely.
As poor Woody from Cheers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well that does it for this week. So Jim, you have a new book coming out.
I do have a new book coming out in September.
Excellent.
And we have 3 cover designs, and we'd love you to help, so the links are below. We'd love you to help pick which of the 3 cover designs ends up on the new book, which is called Earn It, Don't Buy It, the CMO's Guide to Social Media Marketing in a Post-Facebook World. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer to publication in September. But in the meantime, you can help pick the cover.
Great. That just about does it for this week. If you would like to subscribe to our email, you can visit ignitesocialmedia.com. And if you would like to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at IgniteSMA. Until next time, I'm Greg, and this is Jim. Have a good weekend.
Have a good one.